Alright guys, so I'm back and I know you guys want to see the new uniforms, but I actually wanted to talk to you guys about the Otherworld Arena once again. This time we're going to be talking about the Battlefield shop specifically because I made a mistake and I want you guys to learn from it because these warrior mementos are extremely valuable. If you take a look at the fact that you can get CTPs, Oldest Blessings, and tier 3 and tier 4 materials, you do not want to waste these. In my first video, I was showing you guys how to acquire swords. Let me show you guys over here how you acquire these swords, how you can build them up within a matter of minutes to give yourself a whole heap of additional stats. Just take a look at the acquired effects. If you want to see how I got all of these within like 3 minutes, go ahead and check out the video. I'm gonna link that in the comment section. However, I made a mistake when I came to the Battlefield shop because I was just so excited to get the swords. Over here in the seasonal pass, they ask you to go to the shop and purchase a buff and you will get runes of the unknown, which is what you use to rank up your swords. And you also use these buffs when you go into battle because they give you different effects. However, not all of these effects are created equal. And the mistake I made is actually buying this one right here that says activation rate when HP is below 70% provokes target to attack. In theory, it sounds good because if you have a character like Carnage, who I always put on my team because he has the undead artifact, it sounds good to have all of the enemies pile on him when his HP drops below 70% because he cannot die. The problem with buying a buff like this is it's actually useless in the Battle World Arena because of the fact that the arena is so small and the characters are clustered so closely together that even if the enemy is trying to target Carnage specifically, there is just so much AoE on the map that your other characters are going to get hit regardless, making this buff useless.
He ain't lying.
And if you've played in the arena, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So because of that, I actually wanted to make a bit of a guide, just basically give you guys my 2 cents on these buffs, letting you know what I think and which ones I believe are actually useful and which ones you should stay away from because these warrior mementos are extremely rare and you want to ideally focus on buying materials or putting them towards upgrade items. Let me just jump into it really quickly because some of these buffs are actually useful and they could turn the tide. They could be the reason why you win or lose, but others might not be so hot. Now keep in mind that even though the amount that you're gaining from these buffs seem very low, you can actually upgrade these buffs. So like let's say I go into a fight here, search for an opponent, find somebody, my buff seems kind of low. But guess what? You can level it up using mementos. And same goes for this one right here. So don't be fooled by the fact that these buffs are actually looking pretty weak at level 1 because they can be leveled up. And one funny thing about this game mode is even if you're not fighting, if you have a strong defense team and people attack you, you actually gain points if they lose to you. So keep that in mind. Notice how I was in, I believe, Platinum before and then we came back and now I'm in Vibranium. I didn't fight at all. Somebody fought me and they lost points from fighting me and that bumped me up in the rankings. You can go up or down in the rankings even if you're not actively fighting. Just having a strong defense team is actually good. Anyways, let's jump back into the battlefield here and let's talk about some of these. So first one over here, this one says ignore damage received by plus 10%. I think this one is one of the best buffs in this arena. Next up, we have Natural Enemy. I think this one is also another one. Increase the damage dealt to enemies that have the ignore damage buff. So basically these two counter each other. People will put this on so they ignore damage and then you put on this one to counter the people trying to ignore damage. So I think these two are basically just there to neutralize each other. I didn't get the other one. I went for this one for people who are trying to like basically hide from taking damage. I'm saying no, catch this fade. Another one that I think is really good is the HP buff. It goes without saying that additional HP means additional survivability, and additional survivability is always a good deal. Keep in mind that if you increase your HP, you're also going to increase the amount that you heal by. Next up is Remove Purification. I think this buff right here is going to be the meta. I think everyone is going to want to run this one because basically what happens is since this game mode does not allow you to use leaderships, a lot of people, myself included, included are going to be running the Wasp on their team. And the Wasp, her tier 2 passive gives you debuff removal. However, that remove purification buff actually removes that. So this one is probably the best one to buy. I regret buying the taunt. I should have bought this one instead. As you can see, remove the effect of remove all debuffs from all buffs. This is absolutely amazing. I'm actually gonna buy it right now because it's a troll buff. Because when people come in thinking they can't be debuffed because they have the Wasp on their team, and because of the fact that the fights don't last that long, if you have the Wasp on your team and you get that debuff removal off, well, Jean Grey can't time freeze you. People can't reduce your defenses and a whole bunch of other stuff just because of her tier 2 passive. But that's now gone because of that remove purification buff. It is very toxic in my opinion. Another one that I think is really good. A lot of characters in the game do not have ignore dodge built in. Ignore dodge goes a long way, especially if you're using tier 3 characters, because you're punching up. And in this game, if the character that you're fighting is at a higher level than you, they have a higher likelihood of dodging your attacks. It's like you're fighting Floyd Mayweather and you're a rookie boxer. Getting ignore dodge is actually really good if you're using tier 3 characters and you're punching up and fighting tier 4s, or if you're going up against a lot of Spider-Mans, and Spider-Man is toxic in this game mode. So these, in my opinion, are currently the best buffs. Other ones that I consider to be good, you could consider, are the buff increase effect. Let's say, for example, you have 20% all attack on one of your skills. This is going to increase that. Let's say you have 20% defense coming from one of your skills. This is going to increase that, and so on and so forth, etc. So buff increase, pretty good. I personally don't think it should be your top choice. Buff decrease, obviously meant to counter people using buff increase. Next up, we have debuff effect increase. So basically, think about this one like characters that use a lot of webbing, Spider-Man, characters that use time freeze, characters that use stun, paralysis, all of that. If people buy this buff, it's gonna make it so that those debuffs last 25% longer on you, which makes it so that Wasp is even more impactful in this game mode because she's going to remove those debuffs completely off the table. But if you are toxic, you could stack this with the remove purification buff, and then there's nothing they can really do about it. Then we also have the counter for that one, which is the decrease active debuff effects. This one I wouldn't go for personally. Fear, I would definitely skip over. I think this one is absolutely terrible. No one should be buying this. Defense decrease, it's bad in my opinion. Defenses don't really matter too much in Marvel Future Fight, and if you're gonna spend 400 tokens, they're just way better buffs that you could go for. Attack increase, again, I would skip over this one. I think it's decent maybe, but yeah, you probably could skip over that. Another one that I think could have been way better, I would put this one in the decent category. Physical damage absorption. So basically somebody punches you, you convert that energy into attack, and then you slap them a little bit harder. It's kind of like accumulation, if you will, but this only works on physical damage. If this worked on energy and physical, then it would be absolutely amazing. Funny enough, there's only one for physical and not one for energy, so maybe later they'll add one for energy as well. Maybe they wanted to split it up so people have to choose between which ones they want to go for. Selective removal might arguably be the best buff in this shop, and the fact that it costs the same as the rest is actually kind of crazy. The only downside to it is the cooldown time on it being 25 seconds. So whoever you put this on, you want them to be someone that stays alive quite a long time or has a revive. It is 7 seconds longer than the other ability that removes debuff removal, but this one, in addition to removing debuff removal, it also removes the physical absorption as well. Moving on, we have the upgrade items. Okay, me personally, I would not buy swords and I would not buy the Odin's Blessings. I think the Odin's Blessings are overpriced. They should be set at 10,000, not 30,000. There's no way it should be this close to a CTP, because one CTP is definitely more powerful than one singular Odin's Blessings. By the way, it's completely RNG which item you get from these boxes, and we don't even know if the magic and strike Odins are in these, or if the patience, transcendence, and other CTPs are also in here. My guess is every CTP in the game currently is in these boxes, and every Odin in the game is in this box. Next up, we have the material shop, and truthfully speaking, the only things you should consider buying from here are the elemental rune selectors, runes of the unknown, and either Life Seed if you need a little top up to get a character to tier 4, but primarily you should be going for Carbonadium. Soul of the Faltine, it's up to you if you want to go for it, but I've never had an issue where I'm out of Soul of the Faltine. But then again, I spend money on the game. I am always in need of Carbonadium, so I would say the most valuable thing on this page is Carbonadium. Then we have the Elemental Runes, and then we have Rune of the Unknown, and then Life Seed, because the drop from World Boss Legend is RNG, and that is the only place you can get it. At least with the Soul of the Faltine, you're guaranteed to get 150 per day. And even if you can't beat Dormammu, you can still go into Giant Boss Raid against Galactus, who's super easy, and you can get 150 from there. Anybody who's buying CCF, Essence of Dimension, Titan Component Pack, Awakened Materials,
stop it. Get some help.
I would slap you. Do not do that, because of the fact that if you just go to my material count right here and go down to the bottom here, look at this. I have every character in the game, Awakened and Transcended. Look at these materials and how few of them I have. Comparatively, if you are buying this stuff, you need serious help, because I have 52,000 CCF. It's guaranteed to drop every single day in World Boss Legend, and then you can get these items from World Boss Legend and Story Mode. Please, for the love of all things holy or unholy, whatever you believe in, or if you believe in nothing, but if you believe in common sense, please only buy tier 4 materials, buffs, or CTPs from the Arena shop. Anything else?
It's a trap!